you're on YouTube watching a bunch of tutorials and reviews about tech, and you're like, once I get this thing, then I'll make the best content in the world. You're lying to yourself, just like me. And then lastly, which is not really a bad reason, but it is a real reason. I had a kid, and oftentimes we get stuck at the editing process and just edit till we're blue in the face. I can't turn blue in the face because I'm black, but you get what I'm saying. What's going on, family? Stop doing that. When I do the little hand thing, the gimbal starts. Jesus. Sorry, I didn't even make a script for this because that was just gonna be another reason to not make this video. Let me explain why I've really been gone. But first, let me go over all the fake reasons, namely equipment. I've convinced myself that, you know what, once I get this thing, then I'm ready to shoot. I've set up my camera and lights and recorded stuff so many times. But let me just go over the list of things that I have bought, trying to convince myself that's what was keeping me from making content. Spoiler alert, 1, I hate calling it content. 2, equipment doesn't keep you from being creative. Honestly, let me tell you this may sound really privileged from a place of like seeing success from this space. The challenge comes when you actually do have enough resources to get the equipment that you think you needed. So like when you're first starting out, you don't have a lot of money, most of us. And then you keep convincing yourself that it's not a want, it's a need. You need it before you can create something. And it's not true. So let me just go over the list of things that I've bought since the last time y'all have seen me on this channel, which was like 4 months ago. Useless stuff. I got this DJI freaking like camera, which is cool. Like I convinced myself that I do more like stuff like out on the go. I've had this for like a month now. Y'all have not seen one piece of content from this thing yet. Great camera though. And I overpaid for it because someone who shall not be mentioned decided to drop random tariffs. Got this super clamp thing. I got this suction cup thing I was gonna create content with the suction cup. I got a DJI mic too, because I was gonna be on the go. I got this DJI mic thing with the camera set up. And I even got accessories for that too. I got a microphone handheld thing for it. And look what I'm holding right now, a mic that I already had. I got this thing, this Gobo projector, because I was like, you know what? This thing puts like this cool little like artificial light on the wall, makes it look like the sun is coming through the window. And that's just gonna make it look so natural because right now the space that I have just doesn't look up to par. So I'm gonna get this Gobo projector thing and then we'll really be cooking. Once that comes in the mail, and then that came in the mail and didn't work, so I had to get another one, return that back to Amazon. And then that one didn't work either. I was like, okay, wait, once I find the right one, then holy shit. The list goes on, man. I got new pillows. I needed new pillows because the couch was kind of plain. So I did, for my own living purposes. I got a new pillow. I got a bookshelf because the wall looked too plain in my apartment. I didn't think I was gonna be in this apartment very long, so I didn't decorate it. And now I'm like, well, make it look like you live in it, bro. So I got a bookshelf, and then I would really create content once I got the bookshelf. That was a bookshelf is what was stopping me from making music and videos and talking. What else have I got? I got this guitar amp. Actually, that was a great purchase. I'm not gonna lie. Oh my gosh. I've been playing my guitar through my computer for a long time now and just haven't had since I left Atlanta, I haven't had a dedicated amp to just play in. I don't know. I like the fact that I don't have to like set up my computer and pull up Ableton and pull out the plugins and all that. It's just like, this thing is ready to go. It stays on. It stays plugged up with the cable. My guitar is sitting right here, and that is great. I'm not gonna lie. Battery's about to die. Oh my gosh, it is. Stop doing that. Also, yeah, let's talk about it. I bought this freaking gimbal thing. You know, it's actually slowing me down. I had this idea that, yeah, it would look different. It wouldn't be like this normal tripod thing, and people would be like, oh my gosh, why does it look like someone's is somebody holding the camera for you? But I don't think they are. Like, you're by yourself in the room. Like, that's so cool. Anyways, what else have I bought? LUTs for DJI. I got these Ray-Ban sunglasses because I was going to do more vlogging, and you know, I was going to get a POV, and they'd be like, oh, this is so cool. And maybe I'd play my guitar with a POV. As I'm saying it out loud now, as I'm verbally processing it, yes, I agree. I do see how crazy it sounds. But I'm not the only one. I know I'm not. I know that there are a bunch of you out there who are doing the exact same thing. You're on Amazon, you're on YouTube, watching a bunch of tutorials and reviews about tech, and you're like, once I get this thing, then I'll make the best content in the world. You're lying to yourself, just like I have, just like me. We're in the same boat. And if you're not in the same boat, skip this video. Judge somebody else. I think that's it. I think that's all the things I've bought. I'm sure there's more things. Some things have been returned. But the point is, none of that stuff is the reason why I have not been showing up here on YouTube. Let me tell you the real reasons why. I had to write it down. I didn't write a script because, again, a script will just be another thing to keep me from showing up. Let's go some real reasons why what's been happening in the past 6 months to a year. One, I've been feeling stumped on the guitar. That is a real reason. I felt like as I listen back to my music, particularly the covers that I do on YouTube, I feel very limited in my guitar playing ability. And I feel like there's just a lot of songs that I would not play because it would be too technical for me on the guitar. So I'm limited to certain songs. And so one way I'm remedying that is I've been writing on my dry erase board. I've been keeping up. I have a question on the board that says, did you get a little better at guitar today? And one side says yes, one side says no, and I keep a tally. Right now, for the past week, I have 6 yeses and 1 no. So 6 days out of 7 days, I've rehearsed for at least 1 hour, sometimes longer than that. And I am falling in love with the guitar again. It feels like the early days when I first was just playing these like, those like worship chords, but I was like I was in love with it. I was in love with it, and I would play for hours, and I haven't done that in a long time where I just fell in love with new sounds and stuff. And so I've just been watching a bunch of tutorials. Other reasons, we'll get to the big one last. I've been feeling burned out. I just feel burned out, and I think there's even some underlying reasons from that, and that's probably my next point, is seeing my artistic expression primarily as a commodity in a hyper-capitalist environment. Kind of alluding back to how I started talking about this, how like when you first start creating content, stop saying that, Joe, because content, that word content creator, influencer, brand partner, it's just, it's drenched in like capitalism, man. And I'm not the one to say capitalism is 1000% wrong. There's benefits that come from it. I will say that. However, I just know that artistic expression can either be helped by capitalism. The more money you make from it, then it allows you to spend more time doing the artistic thing versus having to work and do something that you may not be as interested in, right? There's the benefit of that. But then the other side of it is you start to see it as a commodity and not something that is core to who you are and what makes you feel good and how you connect genuinely with other people, how you process life through music, through words, through painting, all that stuff. Like all of that gets sort of washed in this sort of gray capitalism paint versus the vibrant colors of artistic expression that it is naturally in humans to want to do. And so I'm really, really trying to return to just like I just said with my guitar, like just falling in love with just playing it. Y'all haven't been watching me rehearse. There was no content that comes from that. It just feels good to lay on my couch, plug up to an amp, and play for 3 hours when I have the time to. I haven't had 3 hours all the time, but a couple of times I have this week, and I'm really, really thankful for that. I want more of that in my life. Overconsumption of online content, particularly. Being strictly a consumer in the social media marketplace and not someone who's a creative who's also putting out into it. When you get online and you're consuming more than what you put out, a lot of things can come from that. One, jealousy, envy of other creators who are seeing success from putting a bunch of stuff out. And then that makes you question if you're even good enough. You have these like self-doubts and wondering if you're really, you just kind of hit your peak and you ran out of wind. I don't know. You just really start to overthink the process when you overconsume. I exist better. The times that I've enjoyed being online is when I'm actually putting out more content, working on content more than I'm putting out stuff. Stop calling it content, Joe. Sheesh, I am brainwashed as well. I particularly do better when I put the stuff out online. And when I am online, I'm engaging with people who are engaging with my creative expression. And then when I'm online, I'm seeing how other people's creative expression can influence mine versus me just comparing. You know what I'm saying? So overconsumption hurts in that way. Overconsumption also hurts in that you get in this, what is it called? Paralysis by analysis, where now you're just watching things in preparation for doing something. And next thing you know, you've been preparing to do something for 4 months, 4 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. Like you're always prepping to do something. If I just consume this one more thing, just like I've consumed products, you can also consume things online. If I just learn enough, if I just do enough practice, right? Even on my guitar, if I practice good enough, then I'll put out the good stuff. No. Put out the stuff that it is right now. One, people will enjoy the journey. People who really connect with you. You'll enjoy seeing the journey. And then 3, there's never an ending process. There's never a point where you arrive at the place that you want to be. And that's great. That ambition needs to stay ambition that's actually driving you, because once ambition, this desire to be somewhere else, then turns into despondency or disappointment or just discontentment with where you're at. The thing that discontentment and ambition have in common is that they are not satisfied with where they are right now. And I'm not saying that's a completely bad thing. I think it is a good thing to want to be somewhere else, to push further. Like, where can I go in my self-development, professionally, emotionally, romantically, socially, politically? Like, how can I further myself and the people around me? I think that genuinely is a good and inherent thing to human nature. The problem comes when we don't do anything with that emotion, and now it turns into discontentment. It's just that. It's just discontentment. It turns into bitterness, envy, and all that other stuff that just rots your f***ing soul, bro. It rots your brain. So 2 last things, I think, why I have not been creating and putting stuff out. And when I say creating, let me just say this. Creating, when you're a creative and you go through the full creative process, that entire process includes clicking publish, includes clicking submit, it includes clicking upload or whatever it is, because creativity, I believe, is great for yourself, but I do believe that it is a great tool to connect with other people. And I know that the way that I'm wired and how most creatives are wired, the resolution comes when it is now shared with someone else. But if you're constantly just making something but never putting anything out, then technically the creative process has not been completed. You have the ideation process, which is just thinking of the thing that you may want to do. Then it's the actual making of the thing, whether it be playing or singing or painting, whatever, the making of the thing. And then the editing process, now going through and cutting out the fat. You've had the fun. Now it's time to, the child in you is the one that's doing the playing and the creating. And then the adult in you is the one who's saying, okay, let's come in here with some taste and see what is good and what is bad. And let's cut out the bad stuff. Let's cut out the fat, all that. That's the editing process. And then the completion of that process is submitting it to the world. And oftentimes we get stuck at the editing process and just edit till we're blue in the face. I can't turn blue in the face because I'm black, but you get what I'm saying. Complete the process. So I've been over compartmentalizing my creativity, as many people in the world are now. I'm so thankful that like people see themselves as multi-hyphenates, as people who create multiple things, multiple disciplines of creativity, whether it be music, art, video, painting, dancing, all those things. You tend to express yourself in 1 or 2 or 3 ways, but it's only because you haven't tried expressing that creativity in other places. Right. So I believe that writers can be, because they understand what makes good creativity in the writing space, they just have to figure out how to translate that into the painting space, the dancing space, if you have the physical ability to do that. If you're good in one creative way, chances are you're also good in like at least 4 or 5 other things. And I've seen myself primarily as a singer because that's what has seen the most traction recently, but people who have been following me for a long time know that that's not the only way that I express myself creatively. I've been a poet, I've been a singer, I've been a writer. I've been on stage, sort of acting in some ways, and I love video, I love photography. I'm really, really nerdy about visual stuff, graphic design, all those things I have been creative at. Even a little bit of interior designing, you know what I'm saying? Creating a space that feels at home for myself. I am creative in many ways, and so are you. And so when you over compartmentalize yourself as a creative, then now you're limiting what you can put out to the world. Well, right now I can only put out music because that's what people know me for, is like being a singer. No, that's one doorway into the house of your creativity. And you want to invite people into that home, but you don't have one door. You've got a big house. You've got a really big house of creativity. And that house has 7 doors. You can come in the back door, side door, garage door. You can come in many different ways. And it's just maybe the biggest door is the front door, and that's the singing for me, but there's many different ways. And so over compartmentalizing my creativity has been one thing that stopped me. And then lastly, which is not really a bad reason, but it is a real reason. I had a kid. I had a son, man. So I've been like in full on dad mode, bro. So trying to regain a routine around creativity and putting out stuff while also feeling this really deep to my core bone to just want to be as present as possible. I'm really just now starting to try to figure that out. And maybe I'll make more content around that, figuring out what it looks like to be a dad and be a creative, or just a working person in general, or a self-employed person who makes their own schedule, and how tricky that can get as a parent. So that's been my life. Those are my reasons. Leave your reasons down in the comments. Be honest. Put the fake reasons why you haven't been putting out art, expressing yourself to the world, and then put the real reasons why. That's it. I don't want to make this too long. It's already long enough. Should I even use this gimbal, man? I don't even. All right, now let's go edit this, bro.